Welcome, everyone, to the podcast. Thank you so much, as always, for joining me. I am very excited to dive into this topic today. I know I say that almost every time I dive into a podcast topic, but this one is just so timely. And it's going to be a great one. This is one you are going to want to re-listen because I have an amazing guest today. Lisa Glazebrook is an amazing human being, first of all, to start off. She's an amazing human. But not only is that, she has been working in the fitness industry and nutrition industry since 2006. She has experienced firsthand the high failure rate of the diet industry, the way it led to further erosion of self-esteem. And after being diagnosed with multiple sclerosis, she began to search for a better way to approach nutrition and fitness. And she realized by quieting her mind and tuning into her body's needs, she could naturally and easily maintain a healthy body weight with little effort. And she also began to develop much, much more love and respect for her body. And she's passionate about sharing this with people. She's written a book, which I have here. The pages are all bent because I have scoured this book and I love it. So, Lisa, welcome to the podcast.
Thanks, Ginette.
I'm so happy to have you here. So, I want to dive into all of Lisa's knowledge and all of that. But before I do, I want to explain why this is so relevant right now. So this is so relevant right now because of relevant for me, but also relevant for the way the world is changing. And I have been talking so much about body consciousness, the body as a third entity. If you have been following me since my last surgery this past summer, I did a cosmic consciousness circle on the body as a third entity, how we realize we are mind, body, spirit, right? We talk about that all the time. And we tend to, though, see the body as just a vehicle, kind of this empty vehicle that the mind and the spirit animates. But what my spirit guides have been telling me and I've been sharing with people is that the body is consciousness also. It is the third entity of the Trinity that is mind, body, spirit. And we have been neglecting the consciousness in the body and treating it like a vehicle. And this is causing issues. And it has caused issues for me as well. And so this is why I'm so excited, because we can talk about that spiritual concept of the body as a third entity, and we have to listen to our body and tune in. But sometimes that idea is like, how do I actually apply it? Like, okay, cool. Now what do I do? And what I love is Lisa's book, Body Wisdom, is a beautiful way for you to be reintroduced to your body in very, very tangible, applicable ways that, whether you're deeply spiritual or you're just cusping on the spiritual journey, whether you're coming from fitness, whether you're coming from health issues, or you just want to connect into your body, this book is timely to dive into the how. And so that is what we're going to do today. So, Lisa, can you start us off by how did you get to this point of being an author? Like, how did this book start? What was your journey to it? I imagine it's a long journey, but what's your journey to get here?
Well, I guess as I explained in the book, I've been in the fitness and nutrition industry for quite some time. And I was just noticing my own health was eroding. And I was noticing this pattern within the industry. They were really promoting a physical appearance, but it wasn't based on what was actually really healthy for a lot of bodies. So the one pattern that I've seen time and time again is like all weight loss is healthy. And so I started to just dive into how I could make my own health better after a diagnosis of MS. And I tried every diet out there. I tried every fitness program out there, but my health was continuously eroding. I was riddled with anxiety and depression, and I felt tired all the time. And everybody in the world was saying how beautiful my body looked.
Mm-hmm.
And at about 40, I started to realize that there was more to me than a physique. And that's when I really started. I'm 45 now. So 5 years ago, I started to really dive into this self love journey and focusing on what my body actually needs to be the healthiest and me be my happiest. So a couple years ago, I started writing every day and it just became channeled. I'd sit down and it would just pour out of me. Um, I finally reached out after I think I was like close to 100,000 words, and I reached out to a publisher and asked if I could make this into a book, and they were willing to work with me on that. So I had to whittle it down in a year. We were back and forth with edits, and we whittled it down into this book, which I'm really proud of, and I just really hope it can reach the right people that need this.
Because you were a really high level athlete and like in boxing specifically, right?
Yeah, I my fitness journey began in boxing, and then it kind of morphed into fitness trainer, bodybuilding, and I've tried it all.
Hmm.
Honestly, in the pursuit to maintain a physique that I felt was not only healthy but accepted by the world,
Hmm.
and it only just got worse as I became more and more identified with the physique over my what my body was really screaming at me to change.
Hmm. It's so interesting how that happens. I think a lot of people, um, I mean, depending on where you are, and I mean the people listening right now, depending on where you are in your journey and what age you're at and stuff, there's kind of different phases. And I really resonate with you that like once you hit 40, things just started to be different. Like your thoughts were different, but like the body's acting differently, and what
Yeah,
worked before does not work anymore. And
absolutely.
I'm really experiencing that a lot right now too, and having to surrender to the process of my body
Mhm.
and have conversations with the consciousness of my body, not just what I think my body should be like or the capacity it should have, but rather listen to what the body needs right now in order to find its own balance or come back into, like a happy state. Like it's just a totally different way of thinking than we have all been raised,
Absolutely.
right? It's such a transformative time in the body. I feel like the consciousness of the body right now is like getting amped up though to be like, oh my gosh, okay, people are starting to listen now, right? Like the body has a voice. And again, I love that you talk about how to get into hearing this voice in your book. Was there like a moment that after you'd been writing and writing and writing, like not the book itself, but there like this moment or spiritual awareness or something when you knew it had to be a book? Or was that always in the back of your mind?
No, it wasn't in the back of my mind. I don't know exactly when it became, when I thought this needs to be a book.
Hmm.
I just started journaling every morning, and this just started to pour out of me. And
Hmm.
I guess when I started to get to the point where I really realized how much the words were healing me,
Hmm.
is when I realized that it can maybe help other people. And
Yeah.
I felt the
Yeah.
calling to get it out there.
Amazing. Okay, so I want to dive into some of the, I mean, like I was saying to you before, every chapter here is beautiful and has so much to share. And it was really hard to actually figure out which questions I wanted to ask because I would have loved to do like a whole podcast book report on this. But I think one of the first things that people really have to get into is the mindset of instead of like telling the body what to do, is like starting to listen and then trust the body. And you wrote something so beautiful on page 25, and I hope it's okay that I read it.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay. So it's about the process of trusting the body when we get those intuitive hits of the body or what the body is trying to tell us, right? Like, when you're thinking, oh, I should push to do this or push to do this workout, and your body's like, no, I just need rest. But we're not listening and trusting that the rest is actually going to help you so much more. So this is what you wrote, and I really love it. It says, if you do not fully let go of the process and trust your body, you may never fully allow your body to fully let go and trust you. There will always be a mistrust between you and your body, and it will always hold on a little extra body fat just in case you decide to starve it with another restrictive diet or torturous workout program again. There has to be a complete surrender, which can be one of the scariest things you've ever done, but the reward will be a true inner love, joy, and radiance, not an artificial physique you built through torture and restriction. This inner beauty, joy, and radiance and pure love will have you glowing with a beauty and confidence that cannot be generated any other way. It is the truest and highest form of beauty known to man.
It's so funny when I hear it and I read the pages, because it was, like I said, it was channeled, and
So
it
much.
still resonates so much to me when I hear it. Like,
Yeah.
I can't believe that that came out of me,
Hmm.
but it's what has healed me.
Yeah. And I agree because I know when I finally started to tap into my, like to listen to my body, I remember there was this profound conversation. I was sitting in the shower and I was like, Spirit, what is wrong? Like, why am I so sick? And then my body came forward. My mind came forward to speak. My spirit came forward. And then my body came forward. And my body didn't trust me. And I couldn't believe it. I felt so much shame, so much sadness, so much like I was mind blown. I was like, body, why wouldn't you trust me? I have your best interest at heart, but really I didn't. Right? Like it was this skewed idea. And when I read this, I was like, this is like the root of it. Right?
Hmm.
Like the body also needs to trust that we are going to care for it the way that we've learned to care for our mind and our mental health, right? We know we need to care for that.
Yeah.
And we know we need to care for our spirit connection, but we also need to care for the body connection. And this paragraph was just like profound for me.
Thank you.
Yeah, it was amazing. So let's go on to talk about life force energy because you talk about life force energy in your book, and I really loved it. So can you give us like a little recap on that?
So, life force energy, I mean, of course, we're exuding, our body's exuding life force energy, but everything in this world is exuding some sort of life force energy. And there's different foods and things that we consume that have life force energy. So, as we're consuming them, we're bringing that into our body. So, that was kind of the premises of that chapter.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I really like being thoughtful of what you're putting into your body, the way we are thoughtful of what we
Mhm.
put into our mind.
So it doesn't necessarily mean that we can never eat processed foods or anything like that. It just sometimes it means that we need to give our own life force energy into that food and be mindful around that food and be have gratitude for that food. It's all nourishment and preparing the food in a way that brings us joy and love and just allowing it to nourish us, but also being mindful of the different things around the food, where it came from, and that. But that's sometimes a little bit out of our control.
Yeah, and it's so interesting too because we live in a society that's so rushed,
Hmm.
right? And we've learned we need to take mental health breaks, right? And we need to slow down the busyness of the mind and life, but that same process needs to happen with the body and the food. And I love that you bring that up, like even preparing the food, having
Yeah.
gratitude for the food. Because I know sometimes even when you have limited options for food, you can change like the energetic frequency of the
Yes.
food if you add the gratitude to it.
Yes.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
And that,
I call it in the book vitamin L for love. Vitamin L.
yeah, right? Vitamin love, totally. And it's so true. I really like that. So for someone that's finding like, say they're listening and they're like, yeah, okay, that's fair, but like I'm too busy, like I don't have time. What are some steps that you take or you would recommend to introduce that idea of slowing down with your food?
Um, well, definitely having a gratitude practice so you can eat fast and still be grateful. That's for sure.
Yeah.
One thing, like I find that we're often multitasking around our food, but it's not always productive multitasking. So oftentimes those are times when we're scrolling social media or catching up on the latest series or whatever. So just taking time to eat the food without the distractions. So
Mhm.
I know we are so time crunched, but we also have a lot of distractions in our lives that are eating up our extra time. So, because I often think back to when I was younger before phones, and I'm like, what did I do before that? Like, I
Right?
read the back of the cereal box when I was eating or
Right?
whatever.
Totally.
But we had more time then because we didn't have the distractions that we have now. So,
Mhm. That's a really good point. That's a really good point. Eliminating distractions and just having like space is so key. I think that's
yeah.
so key. I want to talk about too the ups and downs of healing because I think a lot of people, again, with this fast-paced idea of once you know, then you change it, and so it is, right? But healing is never that way. It is never just this straight uphill line. It's like, like a stock market. It goes up and down, but it
Absolutely.
might be going in that direction. But those ups and downs, can you talk a little bit about maybe your experience in that or what you've learned from it?
Yeah. So, I mean, my true healing journey started when I was about 40, and I'm 45 now. And I still, to this day, like, catch the wrong angle in a mirror when I'm at the gym, and I want to go back to those old patterns. Or I listen to maybe a podcast that was labeled as like a healthy way of doing things, but it's really shrouded in weight loss. And I think, well, maybe I need to be doing this fasting protocol, or maybe I need to be listening to someone else that's not my body, because
Mhm.
this is what the world is saying to me, to listen to them, what I need to do with my body. So I have to continuously be aware of those outside influences to this day, and
Mhm.
just remember that I'm going to have those ups and downs. But when I really practice the self-love practices in the book, I find that it's much easier to stop myself in the tracks, because in the end, anything that I decide to do, whether it's workout, or in a certain way, or eat in a certain way, it's going to come from a place of self love for me. So if it's in any way hurting my body, I don't do it. But I still have those days when I think I could just start a diet next week, and
Yeah.
you know,
Yeah. And it's, gosh, is that so true? I totally understand that too. That kind of brings me to your chapter on willpower as a battery.
yeah,
I thought that was so cool. Willpower as a battery, because in those ups and downs, then we have those moments where we're like, all right, I'm just going to do this,
yeah.
right? And then we push it. So can you talk a little bit about that catchphrase there?
Yeah, so that theory, when it came to me, was pretty profound, because I've always thought of willpower as more of a muscle that we need to continuously get stronger and stronger, stronger. But we really, on a daily, weekly, monthly basis, we only have so much willpower. And so if we go on a restrictive program and we're just draining that battery, it's going to get it to a point where we need to plug it back in. And oftentimes that's turning to food and not exercising anymore. So if we can keep our battery charged by nourishing our body, not stressing the willpower, like having foods prepared and being
Mhm.
mindful around our food, that all boosts the battery and keeps it charged for so much longer. So we're not running into those moments where we're like, oh, like I have nothing left, and crashing, or just
Mhm.
throwing it all away.
Yeah, really
I
making it like work for you.
I love the analogy of like it's like a rubber band where you just like pulling it back, pulling it back, pulling it back. It's gonna let go. So
Yes, and then get you really good.
yeah.
Yeah. Okay, I like that. I really like that idea. Okay, how about the idea of, and this is something I've really tried to work on in this process of healing versus like times before when I've had to heal my body, I've really gone by like protocol, right? Whereas this time, Spirit had told me I needed to radically change the whole experience from what I eat to how I move my body to everything. Like it has been a complete
That
flip.
happened to me too.
Yeah, right? Like where you're like, I don't know what to do. And so you're having to start from scratch. And I like it though when you talk about rediscovering pleasure. And
Yes.
I found I've shifted from protocol to pleasure in the moment of all things, like of the taste of strawberries, right? Like slowing down and enjoying the taste and the texture and the flavor of strawberries, even, right?
Yes.
Something we would think is so simple. How did that come about for you?
Well, the pleasure I found was a lot to do with when we're I guess we're guilted around all sorts of pleasure in our culture,
Yeah.
and I found that our bodies were truly lacking pleasure, and like you said, slowing down when you're eating, nourishing, savoring that food, but savoring other moments, savoring your walk. We're always in a hurry, and giving your like having taking time for a bath, going out, getting a massage, doing something that's pleasurable for you.
Hmm.
When I found that oftentimes the one thing we had left that was pleasurable in our life was food. So everything else was, we're pounding through our workouts, we're getting through our 9 to 5. Nothing
Hmm.
left is giving us any joy other than maybe binge watching Netflix and eating a bag of potato chips.
Yeah.
But that's not really what our body's looking for. So if we can find pleasure in other areas of our life, we don't have to turn to the food for the pleasure.
Hmm. It's true. It's true. And you know what's funny though? Like in terms of food, though, I have found even this time around in my healing and stuff and my body transformation, I have made that this, I had someone help me come up with all of this, but my very last meal of the day, I call it a glory bowl because it's glory to me. And it's super healthy. It's got protein, it's got strawberries in it, it's got um, chocolate in it, but like super healthy. And it is my last meal of the day that puts me in the happiest mood
Yeah,
because I get to sit down, I get to slow down completely, eat this. It's got almonds in it. Like it's just got everything that is good. And so healthy for my body. And it really is what awakened me to bringing pleasure back into the whole experience of eating. Because I got to a point when I was so sick that I was like, I can't even like I don't even want to eat. I can't even taste like handle food. I can't like and now I'm back in this point of absolute pleasure with food.
that's
And
beautiful.
and that last meal of the night, every night, it has not gotten old. Every night, I'm like, all right, glory bowl time, right?
Yeah,
it's it's the best. I love
yeah.
it.
Well, yeah, it's interesting because, like, we've all experienced that sitting down with like a pint of Ben and Jerry's and eating away, distracted by our phones, and like it's a delicious food, but we get to the bottom, we don't even realize that we've
Hmm.
consumed it,
Yeah.
and so we're not really getting the pleasure out of that food because we're rushed and we're distracted. So when you can take something like your glory bowl or a few pieces of chocolate or whatever it is that's your food, and you can
Hmm.
actually fully immerse yourself in the pleasure of it, you get so much more out of it.
Totally. Totally. And it like soothes almost the nervous system,
It really does.
not just in the like sweet taste, but in the whole experience of it, right? Like
Yeah,
I don't want to be on my phone when I'm eating that bowl. Like I
me
could
too.
maybe be watching a movie because I'm less distracted. Like I'm less, I find the phone like just invades, right?
Yeah,
But it's just it's funny how that is. So when I read that chapter, I was like, oh my God, I totally got this.
yeah,
It's the glory bowl experience.
yeah.
It totally is. Um, okay, let's talk a little bit about your chapter on taking the red pill. And
Okay.
I love that you brought that link in there. So let's talk about that. What's your thoughts? What is your experience?
So taking the red pill, like going into the matrix,
Yes.
getting away from cultural norms around what our bodies should even look like. Because if you go through different ages, the body, especially of women, the ideal has changed so much.
Hmm.
And I feel like when you change and you flip to just wanting your body to feel its best, and it has its own mind, and it decides where it wants to be, and sometimes it might be a little bigger and sometimes it might be a little bit smaller, but you feel good and you feel amazing and your mood is up, your energy's up, but society is saying there's something wrong with your body because you may have extra pounds on it. So I just looked at it as like I felt like I was getting into the matrix when I went through this shift in mindset,
Hmm.
that I was going through this whole portal into an entirely different world. And I felt so out there, especially being in the fitness industry already.
Hmm.
I felt like when I would talk to people about it, they were just looking at me with these glossed over eyes, like had no idea what I was even talking about, the experience of just truly loving your body and allowing it. Like I know I nourish my body and I know I treat it sometimes too, but
Hmm.
allowing it to be whatever size it decides it needs to be in that moment is a difficult thing in our culture.
Very difficult because I think our culture is so opinionated. Like, I'm
Mm.
sure you've had this experience, but I have been many different sizes. I've been underweight. I have been overweight. I currently I'm heavier right now than I normally like to be, but I'm healing. And I've been more muscular. I've been like I, I've been all of them, and at every weight people always have opinions.
Yeah,
Have you
they do.
noticed that? There's
Yes,
always
absolutely.
opinions. You
Yeah.
look too skinny. You look too heavy. You look better heavy. You look way better skinny. You look better with muscle. You don't look as good with like everyone has an opinion and everybody wants to share their opinion too,
Yeah,
right?
and we have an opinion too, and that's usually based on the types of things that we're exposing ourselves to in the media. So
Hmm.
other bodies that we're seeing,
Hmm.
we look at our body, and often those bodies are filtered for one. We look at our body and it doesn't compare in some way, so then we put that opinion even on our own body and we feel like it. I don't think it'll ever be exactly what we want it to be because I talk in the book too about how the industry wants us to not feel like it's enough or that we're right because they sell stuff that way, right? They sell
Mhm.
surgeries, they sell pills, they sell programs. And so if we feel like we're not enough or our body needs to change constantly, then we're going to continue to buy. But if we all decide that we're good enough right now, that's
Mhm.
actually what my shirt says,
Yeah, right.
that if we all decided we're good enough right now, that whole industry would go goodbye. Like,
Mhm. Yeah, and gosh, is that ever true? It's so true. And I think that's something that I think we're really rewriting that because even if I think about, I've talked about this, I think on Spirit Coffee Talk, but when I think of my experience in like dance growing up, I danced growing up. And I remember bodies like you had to be a certain body type. That's it.
yeah,
Right. And even in just like recreational competitive dance, not like pro ballet or pro stage, there was still this expectation of a singular body type. Whereas I find now the youth in this generation, there's a shift in it
absolutely.
where it's this body, I don't know what the word would be, but like all bodies move in
Yes.
dance and all bodies wear whatever they want to wear in dance. And I'm noticing this even at like teen girls
Mhm.
because I see my daughter where she dances and like the body positivity that they have already from say our generation is so different,
It's so beautiful to see for the younger
isn't
generation.
it?
So
Oh,
beautiful. Yeah.
I absolutely love it. I just think it's like refreshing. And I think it's a big indicator of how we are transforming and how we're evolving and like what we're waking up to. And again, that's why I think your book is so timely right now because you're not saying, do this diet, do this fitness program. You're saying, hey, let your body tell you.
Yeah.
Like, spend some time with your body. It might take a little bit of time for your body to show you and tell you, but spend some time with your body.
Yeah. I guess that's coming from somebody who's spent their entire career telling people what to do with their body. And I've learned that that doesn't work for everyone.
Yeah.
They may get results from what I tell them to do, but then the
Mhm.
results go away. But if they could tap into what they need to nourish and move their body, the
Mhm.
results last forever.
Yeah, I think that's so true. And I think that's a really good point for those that are working with a nutrition fitness coach. If your coach is open to hearing your feedback of what's working for you and what's not and working with that, then that's a good coach.
Yes,
If
absolutely.
they're right, like if they're ignoring that and saying, sorry, the data says this, you must do this, then it's probably going to be a
Yeah.
rebound.
Like if you're telling your coach, I'm tired all the time and my hair is falling out, and your coach is like, no, 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 but you look
Yeah.
great. You lost 20 pounds. You're right on track.
Yeah.
That's a red flag.
Yeah. Absolutely. So let's talk about then with all of this. I love that you added a chapter of honoring the stages in your life of the
Yeah.
maiden mother crone.
Yeah.
I loved it. Like that, when I read that part, I was like, oh my gosh, she hit every level here.
Yeah.
Um, what's your experience with that? What are your thoughts?
Well, because we do go through different phases, and like I'm definitely going into my crone era right now in my 40s. I feel
Yeah,
like
me
my
too. Me
children are
too.
grown, and so I think when we're maiden and youth, like we're just young. We're going through school. We're dating. We're meeting people. We're going through all that. Our body has different needs at that stage. Um, the book is definitely really more geared to. I want to say it would be geared to all women, but I do think that older women are more willing to hear this message. So but then we get into our mother years where our body's often put to the side because we're rushing around, we're doing kids. So it's just a reminder that our body needs a different nourishment then too. And we might just need to nourish ourselves through moments in time when we can slow down. And
Mhm.
then we get into these crone years where it becomes a little bit easier to allow our bodies to be what they are. I mean, we
Mhm.
can't really fight it.
Right. That's true.
It's, if we haven't listened through our maiden and mother years to our body in our crone years is just like, listen up. This is how
Yeah.
it's going to be. And I don't care what you do because I'm not going to change.
Yes.
So,
Yes. That's
yeah,
true. And you know what? That's something that Spirited shared with me too, is that um, the crone years are so magnificent, was their word, because it's a totally different shift for the woman where she's not giving of herself in the same way.
yeah,
right? Because, like, even if we think of it with the menstrual cycle, right? Like the maiden years, the menstrual cycle starts. And so every month, the woman is creating something and releasing something. There's always this like release giving away. And then
Mhm.
in the mother years, there's, creating a baby, the baby is born. So the energy is created and then released again. And then there's the giving of the raising. But in the crone years, why a lot of women finally, not finally, but a lot of women feel like they step into this new power is
Yes.
because they're no longer needing to give so much of their energy. Their energy actually gets to come back to themselves. And it's a powerful energetic shift also.
Yes.
Yeah. And I think we're
Yeah,
rewriting that too.
yeah, yeah. And I think as someone who is in her crone years now, I want to embody when I was in my maiden and mother years, I feared the crone. I was like, oh my
Yes.
God, that's old. I'm going to be decrepit. I'm no longer going to be at all beautiful or sexual or sensual and all of these things. And so I hope to inspire people in that chapter to embody a crone that inspires the maiden and the mother, like for their future.
Hmm. Absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah, I could talk about this forever and ever and ever. So, I really do recommend your book to anyone listening. But for those of you that are on a bit more of a spiritual track and you're wanting to learn how to connect into your body deeper so that you can open up those pathways of listening, like really listening, these methods, and they're not even complex methods. Like they're just, hey, try this, or hey, sit this way, like sit in silence and ask your body this. Like this is such a applicable way to get into that communication. And I just think it's so profound. So anything you want to leave us with, Lisa? Any thoughts? Any mic drop moments?
Um, just that if I could get one message out to everybody in that has ever walked this planet Earth, is just to know that you're enough and that
Mhm.
no matter where you're at in your body's journey and your body's health and your body's size, that you're allowed to take up space in this world wherever you are. And I think
Mhm.
that's not told to us enough.
Yeah, I love that. Take up space. Heck yeah, right?
Yeah.
Take up
Yeah.
space. I love it. All right, Lisa. So, your book is available on Amazon,
Yes.
right?
Amazon, Indigo.
Okay, amazing. And your website is www.simplythrivedv.com.
Yes.
And so people can connect with you for insights for any kind of offerings you have on your website.
Yes.
What do you have there?
Well, I mean, I do coaching. I work with people with mind body nutrition. So if
Mhm.
somebody is like wanting a little bit more detail in how they can tap into the right program for them, and I can help guide them through that. I offer one-on-one training, but of course, it's going out all over the world. And I try to offer blog posts that are inspiring along with this message. So
Yeah, they are. They definitely are. All right, everyone. Yeah, I really recommend go get this book. It's a game changer.
thanks, Ginette.
So, yeah, thank you so much, Lisa, for joining the show. And
Thank you.
I look forward to carrying on this conversation.
Thank you.
All right. Okay, everyone. Have a beautiful rest of your day, and I will see you all next week.